Dear students, in this video on electronic devices, we are going to study some special purpose electronic devices. So, let us begin with Zener diode, which is used as a voltage regulator. Now, Zener diode is a heavily doped PN junction diode specially designed to work in reverse breakdown region. In reverse breakdown region, the voltage practically remains unchanged even for large changes in current. You can see this IV characteristics in reverse bias. Here, the voltage is constant but current is increasing considerably. So, let us try to understand it. In reverse bias, the thickness of depletion layer is large. Electrons are tightly bound in their covalent bonds. But when the reverse bias becomes large, they can pull out electrons from the bonds. Now these electrons knock out more and more electrons from other covalent bonds. So in this way, there are large number of electrons available for conduction of current. As a result, the current increases suddenly at a fixed or nearly constant voltage. This voltage is called reverse breakdown voltage or Zener voltage. Let's see how it works as a voltage regulator. So, unregulated DC voltage is given to Zener diode in series with a resistance Rs in reverse bias. So let us try to understand it. Unregulated input is given to it through this series resistance Rs. The Zener diode is reverse biased. This P side connected to negative terminal of battery, N side connected to positive terminal of battery, and it is connected in parallel with the load, which can be your television or any other electronic device. The output is obtained across this device only. Now, when the input is more than the Zener voltage, then the Zener diode goes into Zener breakdown and voltage across it remains constant. The remaining voltage is seen across this series resistance Rs. So in this way, the voltage across the Zener diode or the load remains constant, and then this works as a voltage regulator. Now let us study optoelectronic devices. In these devices, the charge carriers are generated by photons by the process of photoexcitation. We shall study light emitting diodes, photodiodes or photodetectors, photovoltaic devices like solar cell. And let us begin with light emitting diode LED. It is a heavily doped PN junction diode which emits visible light in forward bias. You can see that it is connected in forward bias and it emits visible light of frequency nu. It's working. Now, when LED is placed in forward bias, majority charge carriers, electrons and holes are pushed towards the PN junction. Now, at the junction, electron-hole recombinations take place. In this process, energy is radiated and this energy is in visible region of spectrum. And now this is the IV characteristics in forward bias. You can see that for different colors, the characteristics are different. Red, yellow, see for red, yellow and blue. Different graphs are there. Now, materials required for different types of LEDs. Now, semiconductor used for LED is chosen according to the required wavelength of emitted radiation for visible LEDs. Now, wavelength range of visible light is 400 nanometer for violet to 700 nanometer for red. The energy range is 2.8 electron volt to 1.8 electron volt. So, it is clear that the least band gap required is 1.8 electron volt. So, silicon with band gap 1.1 electron volt and germanium with band gap 0.7 electron volt are not suitable. Commercial LEDs designed for visible light are based on gallium. They are suitably doped with arsenic and phosphorus atoms. For infrared LEDs, gallium arsenide, that is 1.5 electron volt alone or in conjunction with aluminum doped, like gallium arsenide, aluminum gallium arsenide are commonly used. Now, uses of LEDs in optical communication as source of light, which is cost effective, in remote control devices of TV, in digital displays like calculator, watches and other appliances, in image sensing like LED television, smartphone, computer screen, etc., in cash registers, burglar alarm, indicators, counters, as energy efficient LED lamps and numerous other uses. Now, advantages of LEDs over conventional incandescent lamps. LEDs have low operational voltage, they have less power consumption, they have fast action and no warm-up time is required. Now, the emitted light is nearly monochromatic with bandwidth of 100 angstrom to 500 angstrom. That means the emitted frequencies are nearly constant. It has long life, ruggedness, and now let us move on to photodiode or photodetector. Now, it is a PN junction diode designed to work in reverse bias to detect intensity of light, and you can see the circuit diagram here. This photodiode is connected in reverse bias. Now, when the light of suitable frequency falls on it, it can detect it. It's working. In reverse bias, the electrons and holes are pulled away from the junction and depletion layer is thick. Now, when the light of suitable frequency greater than the band gap falls on the depletion layer, electron hole pairs are created by breaking of covalent bonds. So, current flows in the circuit and this reverse current is directly proportional to the intensity of incident radiation. So, the necessary condition for detection of any radiation is H nu should be greater than Eg. You can see the IV characteristic in reverse bias. With increase in intensity, the reverse current also increases. Now let us talk about solar cell. It is a PN junction diode which generates EMF when solar radiations fall on the junction. Construction and working. So let us talk about its construction first. It consists of a very thin layer of N-type semiconductor with thin finger metallic electrodes on the surface and thicker P-type semiconductor with metallic back contact electrodes. So let us look at this diagram now. See, we have a thin N-type layer and on its top we have these finger, this is finger electrode. The P side is little thicker and the whole back is covered with metallic back contact. Now, when the light falls on this surface, when this light falls on this surface, the light can pass through the finger electrodes because so much of surface is clear. The metallic finger electrodes cover less than 15% of the surface. And as the N type semiconductor is very thin, the light can easily reach at this junction, as you can see. And the moment this light reaches the junction, this is the cross section of the same diagram. The finger electrodes are shown here as these dots, thin N type semiconductor, and this is P type and the back contact. Now, when solar light falls on the finger electrode side of surface, they reach the junction as N side is very thin. Now, EMF is generated due to the following three processes. So, number one process, generation. When light with h nu, means energy of incident photon should be greater than the band gap. So, when light of suitable frequency reaches the junction through finger electrodes, electron hole pairs are generated. You can see this diagram of solar cell in a circuit. This is a symbol for a solar cell. Light falling on this cell and potential difference is set up across the ends of this cell, and current can be seen in the external circuit. No cells are used here. You can see that no biasing is required here. Now, the second step is separation due to electric field of depletion layer. Electrons move towards N side and holes move towards P side. Now, this also you will understand that at PN junction, if this is N side and this is P side, then you know that N side is positive, P side is negative due in depletion layer. So, electrons will move opposite to electric field towards N side. Holes will move along the direction of electric field towards P side. Direction of electric field is this one. You can see that. So, electrons move towards N side, holes move towards P side. So, second step is separation of electrons and holes. Third step, collection. The electrons and holes are collected by contact diodes, which are metallic. So, potential difference is set up between them, with P side becoming positive due to holes and N side becoming negative due to electrons. Now, when this cell is placed in a closed circuit, current flows from positive terminal to negative terminal and it behaves like a cell. Now, here is a IV characteristics. When circuit is open, you can see the potential difference here. For open circuit, you can see the potential difference. In closed circuit, you can see the current in the circuit. Now, important considerations for selecting the material of a solar cell. The band gap should be from 1.0 to 1.8 electron volt. The material should have high optical absorption. That means it should absorb maximum solar energy which falls on it. It should have good electrical conductivity and availability of raw material. Cost, obviously. Now, the maximum solar energy is concentrated at about 1.5 electron volt. The maximum energy is concentrated around it. So, we require a semiconductor with band gap of nearly same 1.5 electron volt energy band gap, and they only are suitable for fabrication of solar cells. For example, silicon with 1.1 electron volt, gallium arsenide with 1.53 electron volt, and cadmium telluride with Eg as 1.45 electron volt. Thank you.